Welcome to the Healing Sexual Trauma Summit. I am Marcy Little, your host, and with me today is Lorraine Faehndrich. Lorraine, so glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, Marcy. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, it's great. For folks who don't know, full transparency, I actually know Lorraine outside of the summit. And she was one of the first people I invited to be in the summit because I know how amazing her work is and how appropriate it is for this summit.
Thank you.
Yeah, extra special gratitude for you being here. In a second, I'm going to let you all know how cool Lorraine is. But first, we'll take a moment to just get settled. All right. So for me, getting settled means I'd like to close my eyes. And that's a choice. Everything here is a choice. So if you'd like to close your eyes, please feel free. And an audible exhale may feel really good right now. It does to me. I like to make some sound. It really helps to begin to just relax the nervous system. And take a moment to just bring awareness into your feet. To come out of the head and back into the body. And as you do that, you can allow the pelvis to settle and be heavy and weighted, whatever you're sitting on. The spine to be long and light, right up through the crown of the head, if you like. You may bring awareness to the rise and fall of your rib cage with each breath. And as Lorraine and I talk today, please pay attention and take good care of yourself. If there's ever a moment where you feel overwhelmed or you notice your body getting tight or your breath getting shallow, please feel free to hit the space bar, take a pause, get up, move around, shake it out, pet your dog, get a bite to eat or make some tea and come back when you're ready. Okay, so feel your feet one more time as you begin to open your eyes if they're closed and come on back to the screen. And Lorraine and I are here to greet you. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. How'd that feel?
Really good.
Every time, I know.
Every time.
Every single time. Okay.
So powerful to come back into the body.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it's about, right? Yeah. Okay. Lorraine Faehndrich wants every woman to know she has control over her health. Contrary to Western medicine's advice to focus on what's wrong with you, ... She has spent the past 10 years helping women reclaim their lives by focusing on pleasure. Her popular mind-body approach has helped thousands of women relieve chronic pain and anxiety and enjoy sex and pleasure again. And she's not writing, teaching, speaking, or coaching. She loves to spend time hiking in the gorges and waterfalls near her home in Ithaca, New York, experimenting with new plant-based recipes with her daughter, or planning her next travel adventure. Lorraine, so good to have you here.
Thank you, Marcy. So good to be here.
All right. So that was pretty awesome, and we learned a lot about you, but is there anything more you would like us to know about you?
Well, I mean, I guess what's not in the bio is that for the past 10 years, I've really been helping women relieve pelvic and sexual pain. And that really came out of my own experience with relieving sexual pain. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not just relieving it, but using it as a jumping off point to really thrive, in your sexuality and in your body.
Uh-huh. Yeah, awesome. I was just interviewing a woman named Dr. Ariel Schwartz. You may have heard of her, and she was talking about how the healing journey of trauma is a heroic one. And it's like, going in and where the dragon lies, and it's the hardest, is also where the gem lies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds.
Because our bodies are communicating with us. And so the places they're communicating are the places where there's the gem. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and getting that gem back so that you can sparkle.
Yes.
So another question that I love to ask everyone I interview is, why did you want to be part of the Healing Sexual Trauma Summit?
Well, a couple reasons. One, because I read your book and it's amazing, and I just really appreciate the openness of sharing our stories. Because when I experienced sexual trauma as a child, and it wasn't easy to find resources that were so open and that weren't just focused on the negative story, but on the journey of moving past that and healing.
Mhm.
And working with women who are experiencing sexual pain, there's a huge connection. And so it's actually one of the risk factors for pelvic and sexual pain.
The risk factor being that it's
Experiencing sexual trauma is listed as a risk factor for vulvodynia and other kinds of vulvar pain and sexual pain.
meaning that because of the pain, it becomes a traumatic event for a person. Is that what you mean?
No, that past sexual trauma or abuse are a contributing factor to experiencing pain during sex later
Right.
in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, medical approach doesn't really explain why that is, and you know,
Mhm.
we'll talk more about that later. But there's just most of the women I'm working with have experienced some form of sexual trauma, and so it's a really important conversation.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you're bringing all these people together to share their wisdom.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for sharing that. And I feel like it is more powerful in a sense when the speakers who I interview have had their own experiences and know that healing journey and
Yeah,
have taken it. So we're the courageous warriors who now have the experience to share.
I can hold the light and say it's possible,
Yeah,
and know what it's like to be in the place of feeling like it's not possible.
right, exactly. Yeah, and that's such a hard place to be in. So holding the hope and the message that you're not broken.
Yes. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
We're not broken.
You're not broken. Yeah, and in fact, the body is like giving you the message that it's ready to do this thing if you're ready. Is that how you take it? Is that how you think about it?
Yeah, I absolutely. So, I mean, I always say your body is not like pain doesn't mean something's wrong with your body. It actually means something's right. Like your mind, body, soul system is letting you know there's something off here that needs attention. And
Mhm.
we could get so, especially if you're experiencing pain as a result of that, can get so lost in the medical approach that really reinforces the idea that our body is broken and needs to be fixed. And it's really disempowering that there is so much wisdom inside ourselves. So yeah, and the pain is like directly pointing us to the places where our energy is getting stuck or blocked. I know you work with that also, and that's where the opportunities for freeing up our energy and not only being able to heal the pain, but have more energy for our lives and our relationships and more pleasure and joy and power.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, so today we're going to talk about when sex hurts, and we're going to get to 3 secrets to heal sexual pain and start loving sex again. But we're going to start with you telling us a little bit about your own experience of pain during sex and how you healed it. Mhm.
So I, about 12 years ago now, was in a relationship. I was in my early 40s. I was a single mom. And actually, it was a good relationship, and especially sexually, which for me was because I had experienced trauma and in my life experienced a lot of confusion and frustration and shame around my sexuality. Like having a really good sexual relationship felt like, finally. And and then I started getting chronic yeast infections, and then did medical and alternative treatments for that, and then eventually started having, like, even after the all the tests were negative for yeast and bacteria, was having this intense burning pain during penetration. um, And all the healing I thought I did, like it was really pointing out well, that I did do, but it was pointing out places where like I immediately went into shame about having pain during sex.
Mm.
It took me a while to tell my partner. I was like pushing through it until I couldn't anymore, um, which is so backwards for so many reasons, right? Because sex is supposed to be this pleasurable experience between two people, and ignoring your own body's signals in order to please somebody else is actually a problem that, quite a few women struggle with.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and so, I mean, when I finally did go to a doctor, I didn't really get answers, and some of them told me nothing was wrong. And then one doctor said, well, your tests are negative for bacteria, but why don't we do this antibiotic for a year? Because sometimes there can be bacteria without knowing. And I was like, I just got over months of chronic yeast. I'm not taking an antibiotic. So when I got home from that, I actually remember like I was sitting on the floor in my bedroom and feeling like, I mean, it's really hard to hear or to like get to the point where your medical providers don't have answers that are help that you want to do or that you think will help.
Mhm.
Um, and because at that time I was already a coach and a massage therapist and had healed other things using kind of a mind body approach, I just realized like how much struggle there was against my body and frustration. And so I was kind of out of desperation, like I have to stop looking for a way to fix my body and just, at least for a period of time, assume that my body's trying to help me and how that might be.
Mm.
And like I just like literally like let it go and came into my body and really shifted my approach, um, and connected, and almost immediately started hearing things like places I still needed healing. Like I wasn't really speaking up during sex. There were times when I was freezing and not asking for what I wanted. And like there was just all these ways that I still had more healing to do. And starting to listen to my body, not only within a few months was the pain gone, but it began this really wonderful process of learning about my sexuality in a way that I hadn't before. And yeah, so that's my story.
I got chills when I heard your story, Lorraine,
Mm.
and I also just I don't, it just filled me with emotion at different parts, and so I thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and I love how it's sort of like you were going down this path, and you'd gotten to a point where you were at a dead end, and there was no help in sight. And so you went home and you turned inward towards yourself and your body, and you were like, what I'm doing isn't working. And hang on, maybe I need to just listen here. And I love that immediately your body was like, uh-huh,
Totally.
that's the right
Yeah.
thing. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's what I need you to be paying attention to. And it was like, oh, wow. And I really resonate with that because, that's sort of part of what got me on my own path that led to the writing of Naked, my body story. It was like, um, I thought too, it's like, oh, I've done all this work on myself for decades. I'm good. And then I got more deep into my yoga practice. I got more deep into the space of my body and my cells. And it was like, well, there's a little more.
Yeah. Yes.
There's a little more. And you can actually be feeling way better than you're feeling right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Such an opportunity,
Yeah.
you know. And I mean, I think around sexuality in particular, even women who haven't experienced sexual trauma, which is probably not that many, um, are we're raised in this environment of shame around female sexuality and a lot of fear and negativity and violence. And so we all have some level of guarding and protecting, combined with lack of understanding and knowledge of female arousal cycles and like how our anatomy actually works. And I don't know that there's a lot of good sources out there to learn that, right? So the only way to really discover that, it's like the ultimate trusting your body journey, because the wisdom really is within us. And the more women that discover it, the more we learn from each other, the more pleasure and joy we bring into our lives and the lives of the people around us. Like
Sure.
I'm getting goosebumps too. Yes, like there's so much potential. And the women I work with come in like feeling so frustrated and angry at their body. And when I tell them that like they're gonna, probably feel like it was a blessing at some point, they're like, no. But that inevitably happens,
Yeah.
that they heal things that pain forces you to heal things that you probably wouldn't have shifted if you didn't have to.
Yeah.
'Cause it's,
Right.
there's so many protective patterns.
Yeah. As you were talking, I was remembering when I first became sort of um, sexually active as a teenager, and I think that the indoctrination or some kind of unconscious knowledge was that, well, the guy is going to show me how my body works.
Yes.
And of course, they're more clueless than we are, and of course, their only reference is their penis and how that works, and that's just it's
Yeah,
just
that's right.
not the same. So yeah,
That is the indoctrination. Also, it really, especially if you have any kind of religious background, women aren't really supposed to be experiencing pleasure. They're engaging, and the message is it's to please the man. Like that's sort of our role.
or
We
just for
girl
procreation.
or procreation, exactly.
Uh-huh.
But non-procreation sex is yes.
Yeah.
So the reason we're in the dark is because we're in the dark. Like we're not getting the education from a young age that we should be about our bodies.
Yeah,
So,
sure. So yay.
yay.
All right. Let's talk about causes of sexual pain.
Okay. Well,
I'm like sing-songy, but here we go.
um,
Mm.
well, I would say first, so I mean, there are medical things that can cause sexual pain. So it's always important to go find go see your doctor. Um, be aware that there's lack of information and knowledge in the medical profession, so it can take some time to find a good provider that can actually help. But there are things that should be ruled out. Obviously, infection, and sexually transmitted diseases, some other things like that. But most of the pain syndromes that are, or the diagnoses that women maybe eventually get after a long time, um, are like vulvodynia, which really just means pain in the vulva, vaginismus, which has to do with the muscles around the vagina contracting um, during penetration, and bladder issues, interstitial cystitis, IBS. So women who get those diagnoses also often are having pain during sex or discomfort of some kind, often burning or stabbing pain. But I would say that the real cause from my perspective is really a mind body one, and a lot of the things that we were just talking about. So more specifically, when we have protective patterns of like when our body has learned that our sexuality is dangerous, which happens when we've had trauma, um, or our emotions are dangerous, or we have any kind of trauma that dissociates us from our body. There's these patterns set up that literally hold back our energy, our emotional energy, our sexual energy, and the pelvis is a really common place for women to be guarding and protecting and holding back their energy. And of course, that creates tension, which can create pain. Um, but it also triggers a danger response in the body. And as you know, pain is created by the brain. It's not necessarily about what's happening in our body. So, really, that's the underlying mind body cause that I work with, and that I think is really important to address, even if you have something physical going on. So, for example, since I've done my own mind, body, and healing journey, I don't get chronic yeast infections anymore. So it's not only the pain syndromes that are that can be helped by doing mind body work.
Right. It's the whole health and the energetic health of that whole area, that zone, that place of tremendous vitality, reproduction. I mean, creativity, all the good stuff. Good stuff.
Where life force energy comes into our body,
Yeah.
and it's like literally being held there.
Right. Held.
So like, yeah, chronic fatigue, all of the not enough energy, not enough confidence, not feeling pleasure, all of those things are connected. But especially, with pain during sex, I think, I know from my own experience and history sexually that like women will override discomfort for a really, really long time. And it's something that we don't talk to each other about. So that's one of the big issues for women who are experiencing it. Like I never knew that that kind of pain even existed. I knew it was a possibility to get back pain or neck pain or migraines, but so
Yeah.
easy to feel alone and like, oh my gosh, there's something really wrong with you.
Right.
Not.
That's such an interesting point because it's like when we may have that experience, we feel isolated and like we're the only one. And then if you start scratching the surface, it's like, well, no, in fact, this is pretty common, unfortunately. And not only in this generation, but like in family lineages where the training for women has been, you know,
Absolutely.
hundreds of years long in
Yeah,
this way.
thousands. Yeah.
Yeah, let's take it to the thousands. As you
Yeah.
were talking, I was imagining vaginismus for a second, a little bit like going to the doctor and you're getting a shot in the arm and you see the shot and it's like,
Yeah.
and sort of like that's sort of what happens in that area. It's kind of like, ooh, and
Absolutely.
yeah,
But that goes on for a really long time. So it's like if that was happening like every day, so then it's not always as clear or obvious, but by the time it gets really like our body is really talking loudly to us, or the patterns have been there a long time, which
yeah,
is a symptom of not ever learning that our bodies are wise and that it's important to pay attention to the subtle messages and sensations we're getting all the time. Like we don't have to wait until there's pain. So
mhm,
how did it get to the point where so many women are having sex that maybe feels good, feels kind of good, even if they think it feels good, it's probably a fraction of what they could be experiencing,
mhm.
or women just stop. They just like, oh, well, that hurts, so I'm not going to do it anymore. And that's actually impacting our health for, all the reasons that we've already touched on. Um,
Mhm, mhm.
but really the guiding principle in sex should be pleasure for both partners and slowing down and communicating and, not pushing past either partner pushing past their any signals that it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, right.
So
Amen.
yeah, amen.
Okay, so you're going to tell us 3 secrets to healing sexual pain and loving sex again.
Well, the first is to really take in the idea that pain and discomfort don't mean that there's something physically wrong with your body. So all pain is created in the brain. It has to do with what's happening in our nervous system and the muscles, but that the underlying cause is emotional and our body communicating with us and really a mind body cause. So rather than struggling against your body, making the decision to start um, listening and really just start to look, come inside and look like what else is going on in my life that this pain could be speaking to me about.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Is that all 3?
Oh no, that was one. Okay.
Okay,
That was
fun.
one. So
Woo!
number one is really understand that pain doesn't mean that there's something physically wrong with your body.
Mhm,
Um, Number two is to trust yourself and trust your body over everything else. So this is important when you're having sex. This is important when you're on a healing journey and looking for your next steps. And it's really important, especially with pelvic pain and sexual pain in an area where there's not a lot of good information, to trust yourself and your body about what feels like your next right step over what your doctor may tell you, to like kind of take that information in and filter it through what feels right to you. Because I have worked with so many women who get to me and say, I knew I shouldn't have done that laser, or I knew I shouldn't have done that surgery, but I did it anyway. And now I'm in more pain than I was
Mhm.
before. Like, we know. So
Okay,
trust
so
yourself.
step
That's
number 2 is trust yourself and what
and
your
trust
body.
your body.
Uh-huh.
And then number 3 is focus on pleasure.
Mm.
So yeah, and I like just we have so many protective patterns around pleasure in our bodies. So I work with women to help them welcome their emotional energy and, shift patterns of stressful, fearful thinking. But the thing that has the most impact, and actually the place where I see the most protective patterns for myself, still, like I'm still on a journey of unwinding this, is around feeling pleasure in our body. So having a pleasure practice, like healing can get very heavy and focused on fixing what's wrong, even when you start looking towards the emotional part of it. I really think a regular pleasure practice, every woman should have a regular self pleasure practice. And it doesn't have to be genitally focused. In fact, I wouldn't start there, because our whole body is sexual, our whole body is designed to experience pleasure. And just starting to go on this journey of like, how does this feel when I touch my arm this way, and learning how to like feel the sensations of pleasure in your body and welcome them and create a lot of safety around it.
Mhm.
It starts to rewire that conditioned experience of danger around your sexuality, and things start to like open up and feel, like it just, I feel like it accelerates the healing process tremendously.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I just had an image of a flower,
Yeah.
watching the flower, and it's like ding, 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 and then
Yes. It's
see that open.
exactly like that.
Yeah.
That's right, how our energy opens up in our body when we just be with it and breathe and allow it. And
Mhm.
in particular, with a focus on what feels good.
Mhm. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Lorraine.
those are the three.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Let's hear them again.
Uh, Remember that pain doesn't mean there's something physically wrong in your body.
Mhm.
And with that, get curious about what else is going on in your life that might be contributing.
Mhm.
Um, Trust yourself and trust your body over everything else. How you think things should be, what doctors tell you to do, and start focusing on and learning about pleasure in your own body for you.
Mhm. I love number 2 because it's like the body doesn't lie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
The mind can play tricks, but the body does not lie.
Yeah. No. No, and like if you think about our medical system, I mean, it's Western medicine is amazing. Like there's so many amazing things about it, but it's all the mind imposing things on the body. And really, when it's combined with our body wisdom and our own power around our body and our health, it's so much more effective.
Mhm. Cool. All
So,
right. So Lorraine, you have a free gift and also something that people can buy to work with you. Do you want to tell us about that?
or yeah. So I have an ebook. It's called 7 Reasons You're Still in Pain. And it touches on some of the things we've talked about today, but really gives like a more complete, all the different factors that I recommend addressing in order to relieve pelvic and sexual pain, and really any mind body. It's the any mind body pain.
Mhm.
Um, and then the program, the course, is a 3-month course called Healing Female Pain. And that is really my approach. It's the steps I take my private clients with and all the women in my classes to address all those different components, working with your thoughts, welcoming emotional energy, reclaiming pleasure in your body, to relieve pain during sex and start enjoying sex again.
Yeah.
And actually, if you sign up for the ebook, you will get a $200 discount off of the course.
Nice.
So that's probably the place to start.
Yeah, start right there. And I'm on Lorraine's newsletter, and there are great things all the time, great teachings that you share with us. I resonate every time I read one of your newsletters, Lorraine. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, really do. So before I ask Lorraine one final question, viewers, if you're here for the 48-hour free viewing, I'm so glad to have you. And if you think you may want to come back and listen to Lorraine again sometime, anytime in the future, any of our other wonderful speakers, I just highly recommend you buy the summit while it's at this beautifully low price, because at the end of the summit, it goes up exponentially. And I want you to have these resources available in your library for forever. Okay. My last question to you, Lorraine, is what wisdom do you feel is vitally important for us all to take away from today's shared time?
I get like 10 answers at the same time in my mind, but I'm going to go with that you have the power within you to be healthy and to thrive in your body. And that it's not that hard or complicated. So it's really about coming back in and reclaiming your energy and pleasure and learning to trust yourself.
And it's nice to have a proficient guide to help you along the way.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Lorraine Faehndrich, we thank you. Thank you for the work you do, and thank you for being so generous and sharing it with us.
Thank you, Marcy. Thanks for having me.